So I want to start out by welcoming everyone here. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ashley. I'm the host this evening, and I'm here with my autonomy, with my fellow classmates. And then, of course, we have several people who are looking to join autonomy, and we welcome you very much. We're so happy to have you here. And tonight we are going to be going on our an autonomy journey with Rawad. So Rawad is our spotlight tonight. Welcome, Rawad. How are you?
Hi, Ashley. Hi, everyone. I'm doing pretty fine. Thank you.
Good. I'm very happy to see you. And Rawad and I work on other stuff together, so I feel like I've talked to him every day this week, but that's a good thing.
We almost did.
Okay. Yes, I think we really did. So what we're gonna do tonight is go over. I have a video that's showcasing Rewad's journey. So we're gonna show that. And then we're gonna have just a little conversation with Rawad. Then we're gonna open that up to everyone here. So if you guys have questions of Rawad specific to his journey, or if you want to ask him about the community or anyone else here, we are here to have that discussion with you. And there's a couple of other things. I'm going to be dropping links, but I also wanted to let everyone know that we have an AMA with Rich coming up this Sunday. So by being here, you're going to be getting an invitation for that. So I highly recommend that you join us. That's going to be a lot of fun. It gives you a chance to interact with Rich as well as other people from the community, other new prospects that are going to be joining in on season 11. So I wanted to let you know. And also, I'm going to be dropping some links for you to book your blueprint call and a couple of free goodies as well. So just wanted to touch base in that regard for our game plan. And then I'm going to go ahead and get started with our video for Rawad. And then we will be back. So this is right about 8 minutes or so.
How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing wonderfully well. Thank you for asking.
And
What
looking
time
good
is it?
today.
What time is it where you are?
8.
8 in
8
the
p.m.
PM? 8 p.m. That's got to be someplace in like Asia then, yeah?
No, I'm based in Germany.
Germany? I thought it was
Yeah.
only like 6 hours different. Germany. I'm on the
Sure.
East Coast of America. Anyway, Germany. We're at in Germany.
In the middle of Germany, it's a town called Kassel.
Is it near? So it used to be Hesse Castle. Is it the
Can
the
be.
historic?
Yeah.
Okay, I know a little bit about the history of that area, just a little bit, but I haven't
Not
been there.
myself.
I've been to a lot of places in Germany, but never through that part.
Yeah. So my name is Rawad. You can call me Raw for short. I'm originally Lebanese. I was born in Saudi Arabia, by the way, in Riyadh. Yeah, I've been through some places, lived some places, and now I'm in Germany because my wife is German. Got 2 kids. Yeah, and I think I have a few skills that can benefit the community. I've studied literature. I've also studied translation, English, French, and Arabic. I've worked in that for some time. And then when I moved to Turkey, I got to change my career again to become a digital marketer. And I worked ever since in that until 2019, when I joined the Digital Career Institute. It's an institute here in Germany. It started as an institute to skill up refugees, but now it's for anyone who's a career switcher or whatever.
Mhm.
I taught for 14 months, but now I'm responsible for the online marketing course there. So I've been also designing curriculum and hiring and managing community. We have about 11 classes running now with an average of 18 students. And I'm also looking for, of course, community. This is the biggest, I guess, selling point of autonomy, among other things. Yeah, so that's me in a nutshell.
All right. So Rawad, you were born in Riyadh, then you lived in Lebanon and Turkey and probably other places. Then you're in Germany now, and you have family in Germany. How do you speak impeccable English? Where does that come from?
Practice.
Practice? Did you watch TV? Because I've met people like we had a student from Poland, and he spoke really good English. I'm like, where'd you learn? He's like, TV. And then I had somebody else. We had somebody from Romania. I'm like, how do you speak such good TV? And so I didn't know if it's that prolific that people just pick it up from TV, or if you had professional training, or if one of the schools you went to spoke only in English or something like that. Because like I said, I'm the ignorant American who can barely speak American. And here you are.
Yeah, not really. I studied literature, but I didn't get to use it a lot, the language that is. And
Okay.
when I first started talking, I couldn't speak well. And it took me a long time to get to where I am now, like when it comes to language. And I'm planning to move to Mexico, by the way, in the coming months because of the school rules here, and you're not allowed to homeschool, as you know, in Germany. So
Yeah.
I'm
All
planning
right.
my move.
All right. So we got friends in Mexico. You're going to be
Yeah.
able to do good recon before you even have to like go over, and make sure you got some people in the area. That's good. And then there was another part of the question I wanted to ask. Fascinating. Oh, how many languages do you speak?
Arabic, uh, English, of course, and a bit of German. I didn't learn it much. And yeah, I think I still can speak a bit of French too.
Okay, and you're going to pick up
That's a language we
Spanish.
learn at. Yeah, I'm gonna pick up Spanish. That's
You're
next.
polyglot. We're going to have to call you Rawad the polyglot now. All
Sounds
right.
good.
So being able to understand what's in this course and then speak it out into various languages, that's a very valuable skill set. So translating what you do now into lifestyle in Mexico, when's the move? 6 months, a year, 2 years? What's the plan?
We have an appointment at the embassy next month, and we have to get out before September. Otherwise, they will come after us.
Okay.
So
So the plan is
soon.
to move to Mexico and have online income from something that you can do from wherever you want to be, right? As long as you have internet access, you can provide your services to the world. You have a way that they can pay you. You're going to be all good.
That's
How
right.
do you want to adapt what you're doing now into that lifestyle in Mexico?
I have the permanent or not, yeah, the settlement visa here in Germany. It will last for about 6 months because I don't think I'm planning on going back to just renew it because of the restrictions probably will be coming.
Yeah.
So this is why I joined AUTONOMY actually, because the time zone would help me when I move there to be able to work with other people. So I'm looking for either I offer my services or we can get together with somebody or more than one person to start something, or more than one thing actually.
All right. Excellent. So as you go through the course, you're going to start to see opportunities all over the place because there's not just students in here, but there's other clients of ours in here. And you might hear us talking about a client with a particular problem, which we don't know how to solve yet. And you might say, hey, I know how to do that. And we say, we already know you because you're in the course. So let's have at it. So those opportunities are percolating. And when you see something that might be in your skill set or you're interested in learning, we'll say, come sit at the meeting and see what happens. Right. And then a lot of people who we're working with today, that's how it starts. They sit in on the meeting. They don't necessarily say anything, but they're hearing what's going on. And then they come to us and say, that client said this, what's our plan? And we're like, we don't know. We haven't thought about it yet. And then you have a plan already. So my gist that I like to do is when a student or even a graduate has a good idea, you're in charge of that idea now. That was your idea. You're in charge of it. Let me know at the meeting how it's going. So as you come up with these good ideas, these observations of problem solving or a value add, that could be something you can immediately take responsibility over. And you've got enough runway in front of you that you're going to see and have good choice and not just have to like take something to take something. So feel that peace of mind. You're in the right place for this.
I think I know. But
My
yeah,
God.
thank you. I think I know. Yeah, I think I'm in the right place.
Good. You think, therefore you're in the right place. That's how it
Yeah.
works. It's not that great minds think alike. I just stop it at great minds think. That's it. That's what separates us from the rest. We think.
Wow.
All right. So welcome back after that video. I really loved it. I thought it was a good start of covering Rawad's journey, but just barely scratching the surface. So I want to welcome again Rawad and thank you for being here. And we saw, like I said, just scratching the surface of your journey, but why don't you just tell us a little bit in your own words about your journey to autonomy and your journey on really personal freedom and moving your entire family and your entire life from Germany to Mexico?
Yeah, in summary, everything turned out exactly how Richard described it. I had a peace of mind as soon as I moved to Mexico, and I already had developed some relationships within autonomy. And it's actually beyond my imagination what happened. Looking back at this video, no, I did not know at the time because I had no idea what the community looked like. And yeah, I guess we're gonna delve into some of the things that inspired me in autonomy. Yeah, the relationships were the most important things. They're still up till now. Like without autonomy, I would not have moved to Mexico. We would be sending our kids to school, probably public schools in Germany. We would not have been happy. And now we're happily homeschooling.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks autonomy.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't you tell us about how you ended up finding autonomy to begin with, and what season did you go through?
I went through season 7. There were a number of touch points. James Corbett, I guess, I think John Bush. There was Pete Quinones as well. But I think I converted digital marketing speak through John Bush, I believe. So this is how I learned about Richard. Before that, I did not know about his work.
Yeah. Okay, so you were in the Liberty community already, and you were, had listened to some of these people's podcasts, and you're following probably Freedom Cells and things like that. And then you ended up hearing about autonomy. So why don't you talk to us about what your journey was like after you heard about autonomy? Was it something that you pursued right away? Did you take some time? How did that part go?
I think it took me about a week to make a final decision, but it was already because I had to consult my wife, who was unsure about moving to Mexico. But yeah, it took about a week. I just spoke to her, and she thought at the time there were the lockdowns. We didn't have many opportunities. Like we thought we were gonna be under lockdown forever. So that was a quick one. And then after that, the decision to move to Mexico happened right after. I think this video is from the first meet and greet, or second week probably, of season 7.
Okay. Okay, so that was basically right after you had joined as a student.
That's right.
Okay. So then why don't you tell us a little bit about your autonomy journey? So you said that the community and the networking and the relationships have been the most important part, but why don't we talk a little bit about what were some of your favorite parts of the courses? Favorite parts of the course. And marketing is one of the things that we touch on, but that was already one of your areas of expertise. So what else did you find really helpful from the course?
Definitely the sales, the integration exercises, which are part of the sales. Maybe I shouldn't unveil too much for new students, but sales definitely is a big skill. Communication skills in general. And the first weeks that cover without giving out too much details, the education system and how we're all been programmed, like literally. That was an eye-opener. A lot of things that I thought that challenges I had personal and social, I thought were attributed to things within the family, but it turned out that there's a lot of it that is attributed to the education system, even in Lebanon. Like, it's no different than other places.
Meaning what? Encouraging shyness?
Encouraging, I guess, appeal, or we always think that we need to ask somebody. We ask for permission from an authority figure. You're sitting and they're standing, and there's no sense of collaboration. Everybody, when test times, everybody's hiding their stuff. There's no sense of community other than when we want to complain about a teacher. And it goes deeper than that, I guess. I was taking a lot of notes and doing kind of journaling based on the session, on the lectures. I cannot recall everything, but this how to put it, like always thinking that we need to ask for permission. I think this is the biggest one.
Yeah. So just having an awareness, or mainly, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically having it brought to your awareness that that is something that is ingrained in us, to always be asking for permission, always looking for authority. Is that correct, would you say?
That's right. And also, if you're thinking right, you always have to ask someone to know if you are thinking the right way or not, if you have the right
Right.
answers or not. And there's only one source of truth, and that's the person who's telling you what to do the entire day.
Right. The authority. Yes. And then another topic that we talk about is like that provisional self-esteem, right? Like if I'm getting approval from that authority, whether they've earned it or not, then I can feel okay about myself, what I'm doing, what I'm working on, what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I think it presented itself mostly when I always had ideas, like most people, right? But when I wanted to do something, I couldn't do it by myself. I always had to lean onto someone, because I lacked the confidence and probably even the self-esteem to do things on my own.
Yeah, even though you're obviously a super smart, capable person, right? So that it gives you a good idea of what the system does to you. So did you find that surprising? Like once you got into the course and you started working on some of these topics and we start talking about and covering the education system and what it is intentionally supposed to do to us, did you find that surprising, the effect that it had on you?
I was
Even
not really surprised. I was just, the revelation was of itself very eye-opening, and like, how come I didn't think of that? We always blame our parents, right? Most of the time it's because of our parents, but there's much more to it than we really think. It's not that obvious. You need someone to come and unlock that for you. And this is what happened in the first weeks in autonomy. This is why they're stuck in still in my head.
Yeah, because it made an impact. It was, something that was an important revelation, I think. And I felt the same way, going through and really trying to understand like some of those dynamics of what does going through school and kind of being part of the system, what does that do to us as individuals? And Rich talks about us not feeling comfortable with public speaking, with us having this provisional self-esteem, with us having like this lack of confidence, a lot of, and not feeling like we can express and pursue our creativity. But that's kind of baked into the cake. So that was definitely eye-opening for me as well. So one thing I wanted to talk to you about, you said that you found the integration exercises really helpful. And I did too. And something that I've found really enjoyable. And I wanted the new students to know a little bit about that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what even is an integration exercise?
It's a lot of things. I guess it can be summarized No, you cannot really summarize it. There's something to the art of small talk, which I really was bad at it, like building rapport with people. And it's definitely key to the community, because I'm a member of a number of online communities, but most of them are just written text. You don't get to interact in person, at least on video with other people. And that helps with building, first, to uncover opportunities, gaining new friendships. I have a lot of friends now within Autonomy who are in different places I've never met in real life, maybe one or two so far, because they came to visit here in Morelia, Mexico. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it does. And just to expound on that a little bit, it's basically an outline of some questions, a flow of an interview that we would have with our classmates to start with. And it's a really good outline. And one of the things that the course discusses is us doing that repeatedly, because what it does is help sharpen our interview skills and build confidence in that way, but it also helps to sharpen our listening skills, and working on our active listening, which is something that I thought I was okay at, but then I started doing some of these interviews and I was like, wow, I really need to do better at that. That's an area of growth opportunity for me. So it's really enlightening. And then I think the other thing is some of the amazing conversations that you're going to have with your classmates. Like you may see them at Q&A or meet and greet, but until you sit down and have a face-to-face, you don't know their story. And I guarantee they're going to learn things that are surprising, right?
That's right. Yeah, the active listening part is a good point. I missed out. It's very important, and also it helps with removing the filler words, and like and such.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. Okay, I just did it. So why don't we talk about what else in your journey of autonomy that you found maybe challenging? What was challenging for you?
The most challenging was the time difference. I had to wake up at 2:30. Luckily, I managed to wake up for every single one of the lectures. That was tiring, but I thought that at the time, as I mentioned in the video, that will still be holding my German residence for a few months, and I thought I can keep my job. But going through autonomy, just one day a week for the lectures, I realized that I should not be doing that. So that actually helped me to plan better, because I knew that this is not going to be the plan. You're not going to be making any income when you join autonomy. So you have to plan it differently and focus on building the relationships. So that was the biggest challenge. Other than that, never had any bad interactions within the community. And that's really a very big relief, because if you're going to be, as a new student, if you're going to be thinking of doing barters, timeshares, partnerships with people, it's so easy to go ahead and just do it with whoever you want in the autonomy. It's just like a small village where you know that it kind of creates a safe zone where you know that everybody knows everybody and we cannot like backstab each other. And it's not that we're expecting it, not at all. And that's what gives you a peace of mind that, hey, I can have and share. We share a lot of personal stuff when we do the integration exercises. That's another point, which is very surprising, being kind of an introvert myself.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You definitely, there is a vulnerability in the interviews that we do with each other, because we're talking about personal things, your personal journey, how you got here, what you went through to get here. And you're asking people about their hopes and dreams, and you're asking them about their roadblocks and their challenges. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of vulnerability there. And I do think that you're right, knowing that you're in a community that has the ethic of having a culture of excellence. So even though sometimes in my real life I may be a little guarded with some of my personal information, but I felt comfortable discussing where I was and what I was going through with my autonomy peers. Absolutely. So, another question that I wanted to ask you about is, in the autonomy community, there's a ton of student-led activities and learning opportunities, some of which you are now involved in, and we'll get to that part. But I wanted to ask, what did you end up kind of getting involved in as your extracurriculars as a student?
Some of the events that were available at the time, another eye-opening, I don't know if you would call it an event, but more like a meetup around financial stuff, Wealth Battle. There was, which is led by one of the students or one of the graduates, where you learn about things that you would never come across in real life from anybody, and it will not occur to you to look for them, like on how to build wealth and so on. So that's one thing. I was meeting a lot with Michael. He's like the godfather.
Michael Nimitz.
Yeah, I don't know if he's with us. And we were bouncing off ideas together. One of the ideas, like we were trying to create kind of a community token to set up a timeshare kind of time banking in the community. We couldn't get it off ground. There's a lot of complexity, but we were working and doing research together. These are the ones that come to mind the most.
Yeah, well, I actually really like that, because I think that it goes to sort of how you can network with people that are interested in the same things that you're interested in and start trying to work on something. It may not always work, but just the idea of a community that fosters that is very cool. So I really like the fact of being able to network and finding people that are interested, and maybe you're interested in a similar subject, but everybody's bringing their own knowledge base, which is helpful to sort of diversify, I guess, the perspective on that topic. So why don't you tell us what you have been up to since then? What are you doing? I mean, because we talked about the huge move to Mexico to homeschool your children. That in and of itself is a big deal, but totally leaving your job, starting your own business, I mean, that takes courage. So why don't we talk a little bit about that and how autonomy helped facilitate that?
Yeah, at the time, there was Autonomy had an agency called Autonomy Unlimited, and I because of my marketing skills, I could help out a bit. So with my talks with the people involved there, I could come up with my own offers. So I was selecting some of my skills that were lacking and building on these. I also was I thought that I could launch my first course, something related to marketing, which I did. And after that, I thought, when we moved to Circle, the forum platform, I thought that the idea would be to be the marketing kind of go-to person. So I created the event Market Things, which is open for everybody to join. A lot of partnerships with people, like creating courses inspired by the content of autonomy marketing and other things like time and energy management. Yeah, these are the things I can think of at the moment. And you and I, we have the Entrepreneurs podcast about entrepreneurship. We just started a few weeks ago.
Yes, I'm very excited about that project and actually have gotten more excited after every episode. Because to let everyone here know, I 100% credit Rawad. This was his brainchild to start this Entrepreneurs podcast. And it is about the entrepreneur journey. And what does that mean? To live life on your own terms, to live life autonomously, and the journey of the entrepreneur. So, what he wanted to do was speak with people who are on various levels of their entrepreneurial journey, whether that's considering it, people that are sort of in the middle of that transition. Maybe it's your side hustle with the goal of transitioning all the way over, or people who have completely, who've made it, who are doing it. And what does that mean? Because most of the time, and as Rawad has said, this isn't like a fancy YouTube video where you're telling people how to pull in 20K a month or 40K or whatever that may be. Like, this is real life. So I love that, because sometimes living life autonomously and on your own terms takes sacrifice, and it's not easy, and it's not always glamorous. But it's an interesting type of person who's doing that and who's going on that journey. So it has been really, really good for me as well. And I'm grateful to be part of that, of that venture with you. So why don't you talk to us about starting your own business? You left a job, a really good job, in order to make this huge life transition. So what was that like for you to your own marketing agency?
It's still in the works. What I can share is that at the end of AUTONOMY, I thought I was the only one going through that, but after talking to everybody, you will have millions of ideas. That it can be also overwhelming. However, we learn, or I learned also in AUTONOMY, that you shouldn't keep things in your mind, that you have to get it on paper. That helped a lot. I even managed to come up with my own system to prioritize the projects I want to work on, because I had a really serious issue with chasing shiny objects all the time, which was actually an excuse. And that's another thing we learned in AUTONOMY, that everything is an excuse. Even fear is an excuse, that it's our just stories we tell ourselves to calm ourselves down and say, maybe I shouldn't do it because maybe it's too risky, but it's all in our head. And what I learned, I forgot who said it, maybe John Taylor Gatto, that the minds are not, or the brains are not meant to hold, to store information. They're just meant to, I think, come up with ideas, but that's it. It ends there. And the first step is to put it on paper. So that's what I've been doing. I still have the shiny object syndrome, but it happens after I talk myself into, first you finish what you just started and then move on to the next thing. And that's how I've been able to do all of this stuff, and the inspiration in AUTONOMY. And you have hundreds of students, and if you, just by showing up and talking to them, you will come up with never-ending stream of ideas.
Yeah, I think that I really like that. So I did want to say that Phoenix said it was David Allen of Getting Things Done who said that the
True.
mind is not meant to hold ideas.
Thank you, Phoenix.
So yeah, thanks, Phoenix. And yeah, so then why don't you tell us about your project that you're working on, about your marketing business that you're trying to get established?
Yeah, so what I realized in AUTONOMY is that everybody wants to start a business, and some businesses might require some, this is the latest project, it's still an experiment, where some businesses might require doing calls, sales calls. So we're gonna, I will try to come up with a process for people, or a course that people can take to become their own salesperson, that then they can go to anyone. So just building on what we learned in AUTONOMY and adding a bit of marketing aspect to it. And I'm starting with my own agency, that since I want to have clients in the US, but I'm not based there, So the idea is to speak to people who are locally based in a state or municipality and so on. And then we work together on coming on a target audience that we can go after, and they can try to get them on a call with myself. And if like close the deal, they can get kind of a commission. And it goes beyond that, that anybody who's starting a business can then come to these people who've been through the course, have these tools, they can come and leverage them, or they can learn it themselves to start doing this type of marketing, which is, people think that it's dated because now everything is digital, but it still works, I believe, the best. So that's the latest project I have, which I think I'm very excited about, because I think it's a win-win for everybody, hopefully, if everything turns out to be the way I'm expecting it to be.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And you and I have chatted about that a bit, and I think it's an amazing idea. So I think that lends itself to us discussing sales, right? So why don't we talk about the sales in autonomy? Like, is sales cringy in autonomy? You
No.
know, a lot of people are not, you know, they have a negative association or negative connotation when it comes to sales, but let's talk about why it's different here.
Yeah. I'll try not to reveal too much, because this is the exciting part about autonomy, that you will learn a lot about. A lot of myths will be debunked, and one of them is sales. It's pretty much what the integration exercise is, pretty much like the integration exercise. I will, I think, just stop it here, if I may.
Okay. Okay. So a more advanced, a more expounded upon integration exercise. Would you
Pretty
say?
much. It's
Yeah.
about being helpful, to put it in a few words.
Right. Yeah. And I would also like to throw out ethical sales, right? That's one of the big things about this community and how we are taught and how we go about things. And that is, as you said, helping people. What can I help you do today? That's what Rich teaches us, right? Because we want to help people identify the issues that we can help them with and come up with a game plan and take it from there. And I must say that was, you know, really one of my favorite parts of the course was training in sales. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Right. Well, then my next question is, what would you tell people, you know, what for prospective students, what is your advice to them about autonomy?
I will borrow it from somebody else. I think 80% of success is showing up. And that means in autonomy speak, it's not that we have rules or anything. It's just things that will become evident is showing up means you can be on camera or not, but it's unmuting and speaking out. That's the first step. I think that's the biggest hurdle. And after that, it becomes kind of downhill in a good way.
Yeah, I like that. And that's one of the things that, you know, Rich talks about too, is that you can show up, you can be a wallflower, you can observe, and that's okay. But it does take courage to turn your camera on and to come off of mute. And I know a lot of folks are already doing it. The prospective students who are joining us, which I really love because it is scary. You know, it's not easy to do that, but I do think you're right that it's part of showing up and it's part of that confidence building and starting to really get to know the community. So that would be your advice, if I could summarize, would be to show up and unmute yourself.
Yeah, showing up as well, not only to the lectures, but put yourself on other people's calendar and talk to them. If you're going to be a wallflower or a fly on a wall in the lectures, that would be the second best.
Yeah, definitely make yourself do your integration exercises for sure. You won't regret it. So what else, Rawad? What else haven't I covered? Because in our discussions, there's always like 5 different things that you thought about that I didn't ever think about to talk about. So what else can we talk about and cover here that maybe I missed?
Do it live. I haven't been involved in it, but from what I've seen, I have a very high respect for people who can go and do that on Saturdays. And there's also the Agora marketplace. I think the more relevant to it is you will get the opportunity to and the tools to build your own course, like, or share your own skills in a course format and so on. So this will be available to everybody. And this is provided by Autonomy, not myself, just to be clear. So I think there are so many things, like we always forget something because there are so many things that you can pick and choose at any time. There we have a calendar of events that you can check, and there's always something happening on weekdays and weekends as well.
Absolutely. There's definitely always something happening in autonomy. I really think that it's something every single day of the week, whether that is your course, market things, movie night madness, where Doc and Sisyphus Jones do a watch along with me movie, whether that's extra sales training, whether that is whatever I mean, there's just so many things to think about. And that is one thing where you talked about course building that I wanted to let people know that that's part of the pro media option, where you will take a class that's taught by Richard and Leah, and you actually work on developing your own course. So there's just so much to offer here in the autonomy experience. And then, of course, the fact that you can come back every single season is absolutely huge, because I feel like you kind of need that first season, or this is where I feel like about myself, that you come into the first season, you get the lay of the land, you do all of your basics, and you start really seeing what other, because we talk about a ton of options for you, career wise or freelance wise, and things that you may want to pursue. So then once you get through, it gives you an opportunity to really look at what else is out there for yourself and really start networking even more than you did. Maybe start working on some projects. I mean, there's just so much opportunity. Okay, well, is there anything else that you feel like we should cover with our chat before we open it up to the floor?
No, I think we're good. The questions probably will uncover more things.
Yes, I agree. Okay, cool. Well, I certainly have enjoyed chatting with you, Rawad, and I do want to open it up to the community and give people a chance to ask your questions.
I guess I'll jump right in. I've never been afraid to, jump in and speak out.
Hey there, Phoenix.
Ashley, hi guys. Ashley, Rawad, I want to know what your guys' biggest apprehension was prior to joining Autonomy. What was the number one objection you guys were telling yourself that you had to overcome?
Go ahead, Rawad. I'll let you take it first.
Everything was taken care of. Well, probably I couldn't afford it, a scarcity mindset, which is obvious, right? Everybody's like, okay, the price, but it's a lifetime thing. And I've got much more than I invested, really. It's an investment. That was it, but it did, as I told you, like even that at the time, because we didn't know at the time how things are heading and where to. I just jumped right in because there was no other option or even better option.
Okay, tell me a little bit more about that, Rawad. If you were worried that you weren't going to be able to afford it, how did you eventually afford it? How did you manage?
I just reached out to somebody at the blueprint call, basically. I spoke to Lisa at the time, and she said, okay, I will talk to the person who was in charge at the time, and just that's what happened.
What about yourself, Ashley?
Yeah, those are excellent questions, and I'm not surprised at all coming from you, Phoenix. So my biggest hesitation was the cost. Mainly because I was worried that maybe I couldn't do autonomy. You know, I wasn't exactly sure of everything that, and I probably could have done a little bit better of researching myself, like what does the course actually entail? But I knew some people who had gone through it. I heard about the course originally on through Pete Q, and I had a lot of self-doubt. I really think that that's probably my biggest issue was that I was not even sure that I could do it. Whatever it even was, right? Like, was I smart enough? Was I good enough? Was I educated enough? Was any of these things? Like, it was a lot of self-doubt and, some, I guess, self-esteem stuff, that I felt intimidated by that, and I was worried that, it was a big financial commitment for me, but I had the support of my husband, who was basically like, "As long as you do it." So, I was, and once I made the commitment, that was my priority, was like, I was going to be showing up for these classes. I was gonna be doing whatever we talked about, whatever was the thing that we were encouraged to be working on. I was absolutely showing up for that and showing up for myself. Um, so I did make that commitment, but I felt, like I said, basically, I think it comes down to fear and self-doubt, and that was the hurdle for me. And finally, I was getting really close to the deadline of when class was starting, and I just had to just stop thinking about it and just act, which is a little bit out of my nature, to be honest. So, great question, Phoenix.
I love that journey story. So once you guys finally overcame those apprehensions and trepidations and that learned helplessness, and you guys got into the course, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced once you were in there?
I think I've
And
already
that's for
answered
both of you guys.
this.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you,
Yeah.
Ashley?
Um, I would say it was probably feeling overwhelmed. There's a lot of information, and I know we do talk about that. Sometimes it's compared to drinking from a water hose, and that is kind of how it felt, right? Because you, as an earnest student, you do want to do all the things. You want to make the changes like this overnight. You want to be, on your path, finding your way and all that stuff. So it can be overwhelming to think of like, oh wow, I really need to do a lot of stuff. So it took me a little bit to kind of settle in and actually realize like, okay, I can go through this. I can do the things. I can keep showing up. And that is my most important thing. I need to keep showing up, keep making the effort, keep interacting with my classmates, because the people here are like totally amazing. I can't say enough about my autonomy peers. They're the stories, but it's not just that. They're kind, caring, supportive. They're like just amazing people. So that has been, that helped me get through, and it helped me stay inspired and stay the course, right? And like I was even talking to my husband, some people, they might they might be spending their time watching Netflix, or like time liabilities that Rich talks about. But then you have people in autonomy and they're like, "Hi, we're going to have this meeting to help us improve our public speaking," or whatever. I mean, there's just so much self-improvement and so much encouragement out there, that it's been amazing. But the biggest thing was just showing up and don't let myself get overwhelmed.
Rawad, what about yourself? Once you got into the course, what was one of the biggest challenges that you had to overcome?
Waking up at 2:30.
Yeah.
But it was as I mentioned, it was a revelation to me, that because I thought I would keep my job in Germany with a time difference, but it made me realize that I shouldn't. Beyond other than that, maybe getting on the calls, integration exercises in the beginning, watching yourself in the recordings afterwards, and trying to find ways to overcome. You first start. They ask you a question, and then you're on camera and you start drifting off to irrelevant questions, unrelated. It can happen that you will do the role playing and then they ask you one question and then you spew out everything, answer all the remaining questions without being asked. Yeah, it's a journey. It's like a rite of passage. I don't know if it's a right expression. There's gonna be some, it is part of it. If you do not feel this, you're still in your comfort zone. Probably you should be doing a bit more, challenging yourself a bit more. And you will have plenty of that in autonomy.
That's epic. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah, thank you, Phoenix. Appreciate that. All right, any questions from our prospective students that are joining us? We have several people here. Thank you guys for coming.
Hi, this is Ritz. Hello.
Hello. Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. My question is, if I remember correctly, what you did was you mentioned your wife and how she was a little hesitant about the homeschooling thing. I'd like to know how she felt about you joining Autonomy before, during, and after. If you can share a little bit about that.
It was surprisingly smooth. When I spoke to her about joining Autonomy, it was a yes. Normally there would be a discussion, but I had a good justification. As I mentioned at the time, maybe that we didn't have as much options as we have in the real world, in real life, like going and meeting people. Most people were just wearing masks and locking themselves down. And during Autonomy, it was a breathe because the lectures were on Friday, and I believe I had to wake up on Saturday morning for these. So it was the weekend time, so I was not working. So it fit perfectly within my time schedule, having 2 kids. But we were not homeschooling at the time yet. And that was probably 2 years ago now. So we haven't moved to Mexico at the time. We were still in Germany. Did I answer your question, and did I miss any point?
Yes, thank you. I'm just kind of, for me personally, I'm wondering how my husband's going to feel about this, how he's generally very supportive about things I decide to do, but sometimes I do feel like I take advantage of him, or he's just very supportive. So, and I'm a little bit hesitant about asking him for this financial support. And that's why I thought, well, okay, you mentioned your wife and about the homeschooling thing, and maybe it's some kind of scarcity mindset that I personally have, and I'm using him as an excuse. That's probably what it is. So I just wanted to see if you could share your personal experience. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
If I may, I think that's what the blueprint call is about. Lisa has been doing it for some time, and she knows how. She's been in too many different situations, and a lot of people have to consult other people to make these decisions. So I think that would be the best first step. She can help you formulate a plan of action. And then, because it's not easy, it's to show tangible or visible results from Autonomy other than our testimonials. You have to be there to see it for yourself. And it's a lifetime membership. Just do the blueprint call. It's a no commitment, no pressure at all. You'll start to learn about, it's a sales call, but you will not know that it's a sales call.
Yes, and I am going to put the link for folks to do your blueprint call. I'm going to drop that in our chat. So thank you for bringing that up, Rawad. And I did also want to let everyone know, because we have talked about the issue of finances, so we do have a lot of different plans that are available for you to make it work. And then here we go. I'm dropping that link in the chat, so just let me know if you have any issues with that. But yeah, there's a lot of options out there for helping manage the finance situation.
Hey
All
guys,
right, do we? Oh, go
hey,
ahead. Sorry. Hi.
yeah, hi. Yeah, I do have a question. Yeah, thank you for the presentation. It's interesting listening to you guys, to both of you. I guess I'm wondering what the actual financial cost is. And then I'm also wondering, do most people end up working in the autonomy infrastructure, like doing blueprint calls, doing what you're doing, or do they end up doing things that are actually, their own endeavor, completely separate from autonomy, aside from having, met someone in there? Like, what percentage would you say does completely their own thing? What percentage of people ends up, working within the autonomy group itself?
So, to address your pricing question, you receive a brochure that's in your like when you sign up for Autonomy Quest. So that has all the pricing information as far as all the levels that are available, which is gold, platinum, and VIP. So, and it kind of has everything broken down there. So you can check that out. And of course, you can let us know if you have any questions in regards to that. And then I don't necessarily have a breakdown, but I would say that there's a lot of opportunity to be involved in the autonomy community after you graduate, whether that's applying for the guides program, collaborating with your students, maybe, or with other, like with your peers
Hello.
to, oh yes, like Rawad. Or maybe putting on a class or something like that. And then there's definitely an opportunity for people to work for autonomy in the areas that they need help in, which is vast, but it could be in video editing and graphics and stuff like that. So, and I'm not necessarily the expert on that, but there definitely is opportunity to do those things and to stay involved in the community. Did that answer your
Okay, cool.
question, Sean?
That's helpful. And if you mentioned other opportunities like being a guide, are there like like fees that you have to pay after the first fee, where it's like, okay, you did the first level, but now to become a guide, now you need to pay for this additional training and stuff like that?
That's a great question. No, basically, and the way that Rich designed the course is they wanted to have the once you pay, you're in. You have lifetime membership, and then being a guide is something that you apply for after the season. But after that, like you're working with your team and you're working with Leah to act in a support role for the community. So that doesn't cost you anything. It's just what you're kind of wanting to give back and interacting with the community and facilitating new people coming into the program and helping make things happen for the community.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean.
Ash, if I could jump in.
Yeah.
Both Sean and I believe Ibiz, most of the questions are very much surrounded around the monetary aspect of it. And it makes me curious to kind of dig into that a little bit more and understand if it's a concern with either the value that you would get from the courses, or are the money questions coming from a financing perspective? Is it something where it's that scarcity mindset where you don't think you'll be able to actually afford it? And that question's for both of you guys, Sean, and I think it was Abiz.
Well, my answer is I don't know if it costs $10 or $10 million. So, I mean,
Okay.
Since I just don't know how much, I don't really have any gauge to say, oh, well, I mean, because yeah, of course, if it was, $500,000, I would say it's not for me. I mean, I could put that 500,000 into my own business, or it would just be too much. So yeah, I just don't know.
Okay. And Ibiz, was it Ibiz? Did I get that name correctly? The young lady that spoke earlier.
No, that's it's Ritz, as
Ritz.
in the hotel or the cracker.
Ritz. Gotcha. RITZ. Excellent.
Yes.
So yeah, what's the nature of the concerns with money? Is it more so a value issue, or is it an issue where you don't think you may have it available?
I think it seems pretty clear to me that there is a lot of value to this from having been on, enough of these calls and looking into it. I think the fact that it's a lifetime membership is actually fantastic. I think for me, it's not sure how I'm going to sell it to my husband. And he's very conservative with his money. He wouldn't actually enroll himself. But again, at the same time, he's very supportive of the decisions that I make. But at the same time, I'm very hesitant about that. I feel like I keep taking advantage of our situation. We have a very cohesive relationship. We've been together for a long time. He's not going to be angry, but at the same time, he's going to question the value. I'm not questioning it personally, but I'm not too sure how I'm going to sell it to him.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can't really speak to either of the motivations for the other decision makers or anything that in your guys' lives, but what I can speak to is the fact that when I joined Autonomy, I joined in season 6, and at the time I was driving expedited freight all over the country, home to see my kids every 2 weeks for just a couple of days. I was able to do a small down payment, and I made very manageable monthly payments. And since joining and graduating from Autonomy, I have quadrupled my income. I think is a yeah, I'd say yeah, that's a pretty charitable estimate. I went from making about 42,000 to a little over 100 over this last year. I really took towards sales, and I took a job doing legal sales for an attorney. And since then, like, I'm home with my children. I've been able to get back home and stay here for a longer time. My relationship with my kids has vastly improved, and my earning potential has increased greatly. So the money that I invested in Autonomy has already paid off in spades over and over again. So a lot
I
of
can speak for
the
that too.
ability for you. Say again, what?
I can speak for that too, for myself.
So I would say, like, a lot of the ability for an individual to take advantage of the skills and the community that you have at your accessible to you really depends on the input and the amount of work that you put into it. You're going to get out of this what you put in. And, you know, for me, it took about 2.5 seasons for me to really hone in on the sales aspects of it and understand that that's really where my heart was lying, sat. So I hopefully that kind of gives you guys a little bit more context around the price question. Thanks, Ash. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Phoenix. I agree. And certainly it has been worth it for me. And something else that we talk about is like the information that you get in this course is much more valuable than you would get from, say, like a semester in college, right? And it's so much cheaper in that regard. The other thing that I love about it is that it doesn't matter how old you are. Like we have students that are, 18, right out of high school. They are questioning whether or not they want to go the college route. What do they want to do? And then we have people, we've had students in their 80s, literally, like the entire age range of people that are interested in self-improvement, but it's much cheaper than a semester in college. So I consider it highly worth it.
Did we mention the vault as well? Like the
I don't think we did. You want to chat about that a minute?
So beyond the lectures, you have also access, I believe, to all previous seasons. You have the free events that myself and others host that are all based on skills, like, so they focus on skills. And then you have the vault, which is a library. It's a deep well of knowledge on all sorts of things, whether business development. I don't know if you want to share, if we can put it up and show it, but there are so many skills that you can actually pick up and monetize, whether a new career or just a new skill to work on a side hustle or whatever. Or building a community, even freedom-minded community. there's plenty of them. I don't know how many there are at the moment. Like there's so much that you will not find the time to finish them. But if you going through Autonomy, I think you will find with all of these options, you will definitely find one or two things that you can get started with. Like sales.
Definitely. And yeah, I will see if I can pull that up, Rawad. But I did want to say, right, like there's so much out there, whether that's video editing or marketing or copyright skills. Like there's just so much out there for self-education, but also for picking up new and learning new skills. And there have been many people who got into this community and decided, that they were super interested in like Phoenix and sales, or we have some copyright gurus here. Agnieszka's on the call. She's one of the ones that teaches that particular skill set. They do, I think it's twice a month or maybe once a month. And they have put on a class for that. So there's certainly so much information that's available for you out there.
It's twice a month now.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm just in a bit of a loud environment, so cheers, everybody.
And
And it's
I and I will
what?
say that, oh, go ahead, Jerry. Sorry.
and it's growing.
Absolutely. And Agnieszka is a season 1 student. And she may not be able to chat with us since she is in a loud environment, but she's season 1 and she has come back for every single season since then and is very much involved in the community from copywriting for autonomy, but also for teaching autonomy, and just interacting on a ton of other things as well. Any other questions?
You're muted, friend.
Who is that, Jerry?
Yes, I have a
DTW.
question.
Oh, hi. Yes.
I just had my my blueprint call and I haven't heard anything back. I'm really low on the totem pole money wise, but yet I feel like I'm a multi-millionaire without the money.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And that is something that we can touch base with Lisa about on as far as that part of it goes. But I'm very glad that you did your blueprint call. So thank you very much for that.
Well, it's a necessity.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, so it looks like that she will be getting an email out though.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
awesome. Thank you.
Something else I would suggest or question would be there should be a bit of a manual once I've joined Autonomy as far as the two free months go, and it seems like there should be a manual to how to use the site. I spent a few hours going through different aspects of Autonomy, as far as the different meetings and what's going on. And it seems like on Autonomy chat, there's not very many people active.
Yeah, so the 2 free months, that is the Grand Theft World community.
Okay, well,
I'm
I thought that was a part of Autonomy.
It's one of Rich's projects, but it's basically like a separate kind of community. There's a ton of overlap, but basically it's one of the free goodies that people are getting offered and access to as, kind of part of like showing up to these meetings and going to some of the other events.
Okay, that didn't quite answer my question. I don't know enough about what I'm speaking of to hone in on precisely what I'm trying to say.
Okay, well, okay, so
there's a portal to go into. I don't know if that's entirely Grand Theft World or whether it's still part of autonomy.
So just so you know, you have joined the Grand Theft World community as part of the Grand Theft World 2 free months. It's entirely separate from autonomy. And
Okay.
what you've joined is the community. It's a circle community, and it's completely different from autonomy, but it's vibrant and it's active. Now, there's a lot of stuff in there. So, I recommend that you just take your time, go down section by section,
Right.
read about what's happening. And, if you're inclined to get involved, that's wonderful. But there's quite a bit in there. There's no manual, there's no guide. It's sort of just kind of jump in with both feet and, start learning and interacting with that community. But that's many of the people in Grand Theft World do cross over into autonomy. So, as Ashley said, that's one of Richard's other projects. So you are not in autonomy yet.
Yes, I understand that now.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your questions.
Not a problem. Thanks for answering.
thanks, guys. Oh, my apologies. I have a comment that Phoenix and Ritz covered the questions, and that they were dealing with some scarcity mindset on money. And the laptop is not cooperating right now, but they're good with hearing about the discussions on payment plans. Yes, so those discussions, when you sign up for your blueprint call and you're speaking with Lisa, who is going over, who will go over that with you, then you can talk about all of that good stuff, as well as the payment plans, as well as the level that will be best for you for where you're at. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you. All right. Do we have any other questions? And
Ash,
maybe
if I could
while,
just kind of
oh
add
yeah,
to
go ahead.
what
Yeah,
I
please
wanted
do.
to add to what Leah was saying for GTW. One of the main tenets and ideas that Rich likes to advocate for is the idea of persistence despite the resistance. A lot of what you're going to find in autonomy is very much self-directed. It's kind of like Fight Club. You choose your own level of participation. And it can be a little daunting in the beginning. I know for me, I didn't have that external validation constantly there to say, yeah, you're on the right track. Yeah, you're on the right track. Because a lot of that has to come from yourself and understanding what your goals are through the course, which gets essentially laid out in your blueprint plan, in your blueprint call. So having a good understanding of exactly what your goals are and what you want to accomplish really is kind of the foundation for developing your path through autonomy. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you, Phoenix. Thank you very much for that. And I did want to say that we do have a question here from someone that said that their computer doesn't have a camera. Do I need to get an external camera for the course? That I find that to be a really valuable question, because I I think that it is worth it, because you can get them for fairly reasonably, online, get them on Amazon. And I think it's a good way to, well, I would just say that I think it enhances the conversations, especially when we're doing, like Q&A on Friday evening or on Sunday, or whenever you are doing your interviews with your fellow classmates. We are all over the globe, literally, but it makes you feel a little bit more like you're actually sitting down to have a coffee with your classmates. So, I don't know. I would recommend it.
Is it
I feel
mandatory?
like
No.
it's
There's
not
nothing
mandatory.
mandatory in
No.
the course. There's nothing mandatory in the course. Could you get through this course without a camera? Absolutely. Would it be a
Yeah.
big deal? Not really. would you be denying yourself the opportunity of gaining confidence and competence being on camera? Yes, you would. Is that really valuable today in people's upward mobility? Yes, it is. You get judged on it very easily these days. And because so many people got so well practiced during like COVID, they know how to do their fake backgrounds and all this other jazz that they got going on. And it's like, it's pretty easy to get like outshined in a business meeting or like an interview session if you're trying to get a job. And so the dexterity, it's like speaking a language, right? So can you be conversant or can you be smooth at it, right? So there's those different aspects too. And then real quick, I was thinking of Rich's question on like her husband. This has been a common theme since we started the course. And Agnieszka got in here because her boyfriend at the time had enrolled, and then they were listening to the course together, and then she always had the comments, and she was like commenting over his shoulder. And I was like, why don't you just get in here and get your own account and stop using his? And she did. And so like we've always tried to encourage couples. Like I've always made it known, if you're in a relationship, you've been married for a long time, and then all of a sudden one person's in the room, they're on the computer with their headphones on and they're talking to strangers, it kind of makes your partner a little jealous, or like the unknown starts to creep in. And so that's a known. So what we do is we say, if your spouse wants to join, here's a super reduced price, the family price, or so that they can have clarity, they can have insight, they can have their own account, they can make their own friends, they can participate along. Or one spouse goes through and then the next spouse goes through a season or two later. We have a lot of that, you know, so they go through, they make their own friends kind of in a separate capacity. Or just keep it on speaker. Like I tell people, like you should be washing your dishes, doing your laundry, doing your grocery shopping. You can be listening to replays. Like you don't need to be tied to a computer in a dark room, watching a screen, you know, flashing lights with you, you know, and have headphones and be cut off from the world. I do a lot of my work like with a headset on. I use a Bluetooth headset, and I'm outside and I'm around and I'm doing stuff while I'm consuming content or doing research, or even in the past doing client calls. I can think of any number of times, like I was doing a client call for somebody and I was like fishing with my son, but I could completely do the job I had to do for the client that day because they needed something and I was out of town. So it's like I could do work on the road. So there's a lot of open opportunities, both from like balancing the relationship with the spouse and like bringing this into the household and having the same vernacular, being on the same page. When you see, oh, hey, honey, maybe you're being a little scarcity minded about that. Oh yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Cause I guess I was, I'm so used to thinking like that. Right. So just having the balancing, oftentimes it's good for both people to have this training, but one of you guys have to go through it first. Right. And so there's sometimes the person who can pay for it, well, they can pay for it because they're working all the time, and the person who can take it, they're not working all the time. And that's how that works out. And as long as we recognize it for what it is and put a plan in to balance that, right? Is like, you know, so, and sometimes the person who comes for the enrollment call, it's the spouse that needs it more than the person who showed up. But right, so they're the one that's checking it out. So I try to keep them together because they're a team, and the team's going to work best when they're both like kind of on the same page, which is why we offer the family discount. So anyone who gets in, you know, it can be 3 or 4 seasons later and you're like, oh, I have a sister, a daughter, a nephew, or whatever. It's like, yeah, the more the merrier. And then you go through the course with them and you're like their guide. Like I've been through before, it's no problem. So hope that answers a couple of the questions that were lingering out there.
Thank you, Rich. I did want to go to Sue. Hi, Sue.
Hey, hi. I'm glad everybody's on and Richard's on. I'm Canadian, and I've been following a lot of different groups, and autonomy is one of them. And I would like to ask a very practical question. How much is the course of the 12? I think it's a 12-week course. Is that correct? Can it be disclosed in a practical way? Because that makes, because I know that there's probably a payment plan or different schedules. Would someone be able to answer?
I'm going to let Ashley answer it. That way, if she leaves out some detail, I can add it back in. And then Leah is here to fact check us, and she has the sheet with all the pricing and the details and the packages and the payment plans, all that good stuff too. So yeah, we could probably answer that question. Go ahead,
Awesome.
Ashley. Let's see how you do.
Okay. So we are going over pricing then. We're good on that?
Yeah. it's
I
fine.
mean, for
Okay.
you guys in this meeting, I kind of just taught Ashley and Andy this last night, so now it's like a test for them.
Okay, here we go.
And traditionally, as a tip, I used to go from the highest down to the lowest. I would
Okay.
start with the VIP, explain what that is, and then I would explain to them, this is overkill for you. You don't need that. Let's move down to the next package, which is usually also overkill for you. And then would end up at basic, which is like, this is probably where you need to be with the challenges you have in front of you. Unless you're already moving with your offer and you have momentum, you don't need VIP. And unless you're looking to do like the pro media and build those skills and you already have it, like you know yourself that you can like take this course and do the extracurricular stuff, other people are just going to struggle with getting and showing up for themselves 12 times for the course lectures, right? So I try to gauge like where the person's at and give them a package that fits them where they are so they can grow into it. Because otherwise, if I give you something that's like overpriced and gives you stuff you can't use, like that's not cool. I wouldn't like that. I want to be sold what I need to use now and that I can grow into in the future, like, you know, and guard my investment. So that's how we structured this.
Okay. So we do have the 3 packages, as you heard Rich discuss. So we have our VIP package, which is more for, like what he was saying, for people that are at a high level with their business and could use some extra guidance, or maybe they're in an executive position or something like that. That comes with a coaching call with Rich and an elite level masterminds group that meets every other week throughout the season. And then that is, excuse me, and that also comes with everything that comes with your, like the pro media package and everything else that's in the other packages as well. So right now we're offering a 10% off discount off of that, which is pretty significant. And you also have the options for payment plans. And then so that one is 11,000. Then we have our platinum level that comes with our pro media training, which is taught by Rich and Leah every Thursday. That is working on your video editing and your course creation. So that's included in that package. And then both levels of the gold and the platinum have masterminds. I mean, that's available to all of us in the community. So that is, let me think about my pricing here. Sorry, uh I'm
No, this is good.
remembering.
This is doing it live. Anytime you're out of your comfort zone, you're growing. And that's what we're all here to do. So we do this readily in front of each other. We grow all the time.
Yes,
So
we do.
So the VIP is the top package, is the biggest package, and I sell the fewest of it. Like I won't take more than 5 of those per season because they take a lot of my time. The platinum package in the middle, I'd say maybe a third of the students take the platinum package, and probably almost 2/3 take the basic, the gold package, right? So most people need size small to get started. You have lifetime enrollment. I have never had to upgrade somebody once they got in because we get them in at the right size, you know? So people who go through at the small package, the gold package, they grow. And by the time they're at season 2, they're hanging out with people in the advanced package. Because if you're moving, you like end up moving with the people that are moving faster. Like you're going to find your pace. There's people moving slow, medium, and fast. And, you know, the activities kind of go accordingly. I designed a course such that the bottom level, the gold package, the small package is way, you know, overvalued for the deliverable. So it's made such that you can't go through it once in 12 weeks and get all the content. Like you can't, it's just not possible. It's like trying to drink through a tsunami with a straw. It's made so you can keep coming back for yourself twice a year, getting in growth mode and continue leveling up year after year, because these are evergreen skills. And every time you come back, you've changed and you need a little refresher in certain areas of these skills. Like you might work on sales and getting your offer together, but 2 seasons from now, you're going to be working on customer service or a new R&D campaign and these sort of things for yourself. Or if you're an employee, like you might just be trying to get a job, but a couple seasons from now, you want to know how to be an executive or how to like help do like start up a company and pursue your dreams. And you're going to be surrounded by people that are in various modalities from all over the world doing likewise. So even though there might be 100 students in the course, you're really going to hang out with these 6 or 7 people that are like going your speed, kind of doing the things you're interested in. And then you find people you click and gel with. And then sometimes people like start businesses and they're working together. Or more often, they get each other jobs. They're in here, they're doing workouts, just kind of like what we're doing tonight informally. And Nick Hayes got a job a couple seasons ago from Jonathan Boardman because they were doing a workout together. And Jonathan's like, hey, I work at this consulting company and we need people like you. And then all of a sudden, Nick's got employment. So yeah, there's opportunities all around. And the gist is, if you can just figure out how to get your foot in the door and start showing up for yourself, all these other things kind of come naturally.
Yes, and that the middle package, the platinum package is 8,000, and then the gold package, which is what Rich was talking about, which is what most, a good amount of people do. That's what I did. That is 5,500, and like I said, we have the 10% off that's running right now, which is a really nice discount. And then you
the early bird discount until the first lecture,
yes.
We usually just, kind of give people a break so that because otherwise people come right when the lectures are going to start and everyone tries to get in at once and it overwhelms our systems. So for the savvy people, we say, hey, you save 10% up front by doing a thing you're going to do anyway, but you did it a week or two sooner. And then you got your prerequisites all settled before the course even started. And it's a lot more fun. So it's a win-win.
Yes, and there's a nice discount if your spouse wants to join as well, or another friends and family. So
and then we do payment plans on that because only probably 30% of the people pay in full, and then probably the other 60% they do a 6-month or a 12-month, or they wait a season and come back. I mean, there's always people trying to get in, so we're not like high pressure trying to push people through the door. Rather, we kind of take all the people that line up and kind of give a process that helps to weed out some of the people that aren't going to show up for themselves anyway. And then the people who kind of solve the puzzle for themselves and make it through the process. So you'd have the blueprint call where you get a better strategy for your future. Even if it doesn't include autonomy, now you kind of see like what you could be doing, what you'd have to do that, what things hold you back. You'd have a better plan, right? And then some people who go through that call, they end up enrolling, and every season, we probably teach between 75 and 100 people, and you're making a new group of friends every season because some of the, you'll see some of your friends from last season, but there's 50 or 60 new people you got to meet. And it's just enough that it's like we can know, everyone knows each other's names. We can kind of know a good bit about each other. The interview exercises that I've structured that you guys practice for the first couple of weeks, it's really meant to teach you not only about yourself and develop your listening skills, but you get to meet all these other cool people that found their way into the course just like you did. And it's always been something that's exceeded my expectations because you never know how cool people are until you go through these exercises and you're like, oh, I didn't know. Like I would have never suspected this person had this experience or this capability or this know-how or this wisdom. And then you start talking to other people about it. And then, it's just all these things that kick off from that community experience that's unique and not available on the internet because it takes structure and care and curation and the right group of people. And to do that, we've had to work really hard at refining that process. But that's how you guys all got here. So.
Definitely. Thank you, Rich. Does that answer your question, Sue?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. I know I was direct. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have a fellow Canadian here, Doc Rock. I'm not sure.
I don't penalize anyone for being Canadian. I mean, we can't help where we were born and stuff,
Yeah, we got a lot of Canadians in here in the
Some people
community.
move to Canada on purpose, like Agnieszka. She used to live in Canada. She's from Poland.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I currently live in Tulum, Mexico. I'm sort of looking for
cool.
And I did all my applications for residency on my own. And before that, I was living in Germany. Oh, well, I'm still living in Germany with my partner. I'm just looking for alternative plan that can have some mobility. So just to give you some background, Richard, I'm sort of in between things in regards to getting a better education. I'm doing a master's online, and this will be my second master's course, but it's actually online. But I'm also looking at doing something perhaps online, building a course, but I actually don't know what yet. I do know, but you don't I know inside, but I don't know yet. At the same time, I'm also trying to do a hybrid where I can find work where it will also fund what I want to do eventually, which would be something online and in person. People here in the Tulum area, there are a lot of expats. There are a lot of people doing things online and also in person. It's really easy to meet people. It's really easy to talk about alternative. A lot of people down here are not injected. A lot of people are just really open-minded and very friendly, and they're all sort of doing online and alternative businesses. So that's a really good inspiration. So just some background. Thanks a lot.
What are your two masters in?
My first one is in criminology, and the second one is more a digital transformation platform in regards to global hospitality, and I'm going to link it up with banking and finance. Only because the global situation where we're pushed towards CBDCs and basically being on the grid like China's social credit system, I want to see what they're doing and how they're forcing a lot of the executive level, because it's an executive MBA course. It's actually hosted or actually run by La Roche, which is a Switzerland school. And they're movers and shakers of the hospitality industry. You're looking at your Marriotts, your Hiltons, your Hyatts. And these are executives that are being trained and sort of pushed, and we're all pushed with, the digital grid. You got your AI, you got your generative AI, you got your screen, you got your gamification. So what I want to learn about is, so what are they doing? And everybody is actually a really great cohort. I find there's alternatives. And here in Tulum, what's interesting is while I'm doing this, I was able to get an internship with this real estate company just to help out. So I can sort of learn the ropes about what's happening actually live and in live on ground in Tulum in regards to what's happening for a city like this that's only been developing in the last 24 months. And they have like about 400 plus developers just developing real estate. And there are a lot of people coming here to buy real estate because they want mobility. They want a plan B or a plan C, whatever, how many plans they have, or they do land banking, or just a whole bunch of alternatives. So those are my two sort of, well, at least to answer your question. But my future planning is I'm thinking about, okay, what are the preparations that one would need to prepare for? While for me, I feel like I want to be a hybrid, having a foot in the mass media sort of situation where they're pushing for all this stuff, this grid stuff, and my other foot on the preparation where we can have financial freedom as well as financial freedom as well as mobility.
That's very comprehensive. Now, when you said you had course ideas about producing a course, what did that look like? Do you have any ideas? What would be valuable to the public that you could contribute? Because the platinum level of autonomy, we do have the pro media class where they teach how to, we actually produced a course. Everyone that was in that class last season produced their own course. So that's something that you could actually get done by the end of 12 weeks.
There are a few things. One of it is the mobility piece. The other thing is the piece with younglings, our next generation. In a lot of the bachelor level as well as graduate level, etc., they don't teach you about the basic skills like banking and taxation, which are key and important to not be in debt and to put our kids through debt, or our next generation. I don't have kids. Our next generation in debt is actually not smart. That's one thing. And also the gamification and digitization of our younglings are not good. That's one thing. And the other one is mobility, where our generation, the baby boomers, and then baby boomers and before, we have a sort of older generation where they can contribute, but they also need mobility to have certain plans as well. And some of them can't afford to either go into certain states in the US where they can have freedom, like maybe in Tennessee, or in other parts of the world, if they can afford it, like maybe Mexico or other parts where they do speak English, or if they speak Spanish, they can go other parts of the world in South America if they are on this continent. But if they're in the other continent, Europe, they may consider Eastern Europe. But something like that, I actually don't know, Richard. I haven't really sort of, I have some inkling.
That's
but
okay too not to know. Because a lot of people just start through and they didn't have any ideas. And then when they, you know, so-and-so is Ruth's making a sewing class to teach people, like there's Generation Z kids that don't know how to sew. It's like let's take their skills and wisdom and put it in front of an audience that would really appreciate it and isn't teaching these things to themselves. So it could be anything. And, you know, oftentimes people figure it out as they go through.
All right, thank you.
And maybe 10% of students, you know, have a course in them that they need to produce or that would be good to offer to the market, right? But for everyone else, that other 90% that's not making a course, they can learn skills that support that whole infrastructure that brings people revenue. And then you know, anytime there's revenue flowing, you could provide services to get, you know, extraction from that revenue, offering value into the market. So person with a course, they might need marketing, they might need administration, they might need a shadow host, they might need someone to edit their lectures, they might quality assurance, customer service, all these things go with selling a course. I mean, let me just think of the overhead I pay for. So in other words, even though like not everyone's here to produce a course, everyone here can learn to produce skills that contribute to those things being in the marketplace. And those are valuable skills today, because digital products have a lower overhead than the physical tangible products that you have to ship and store and insure and stuff like that.
You know, the only thing about that, the risk management with that is, and I know that you've also interviewed Whitney Webb, is regards to the digital shutdown potentially and the reset of the digital platform, and for us to have an alternative other than just internet.
Well, the good news is for them to do the whole digital thing, they need to give us electricity. And if they take away our electricity, they lose power over control and surveillance and all these other things for us. So it's like a fine line of like keeping a foot in the civilized world, in that, you know, 15-minute cities world, but also keeping a foot in parallel markets and barter and trade and personal membership associations, right? So you want to know like what the rules are and how to play in the game. Like if you have to travel, yes, you want certain travel documents or you know, these sort of things. But on the other side, if there's ways to play outside of their system and make their game obsolete, those are things that people are interested in too.
So what I wanted to say with that was that community is also very important as well. The local community, wherever one is. And I think it was mentioned here in the group that showing up and participating is one of the important pieces of building that community and being part of it. So I do feel that, of course, online is good, but I think building this sort of physical community is equally important, 50-50, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is like we can't have a physical university bring everyone together, but if we come together online in the right way, we can bring all this wisdom back to our communities. And that involves, like, what do you have to do? You have to send out a message, get some people involved, have a scheduled location, have a meeting, have an agenda for something that is beneficial to that group. And you have to do that consistently to have a pulse in your community. And once you start doing that, then we can teach people all the various different skills of like, here's how to preserve food, and here's how to do first aid, and here's how to budget, you know, and plan your financial future, and all these little responsibilities that we need to kind of maintain, but no one ever gives us a structure or a time, opportunity, and invitation to do these things.
That's correct.
You know, another aspect is that autonomy is a hub of all corners of the freedom movement. You know, and we have people who are in networks all over the world in person, you know, because we connect to all of those different people and places. You know, we work with John Bush, we work with the Freedom Cells, we work with Derek Bros, we work with Anarchapulco, we work with pretty much everybody out there, you know, and our networks are always weaving and crossing. And so many people have the goal of being in the physical world together. And, you know, I'm excited because I know that that opportunity is going to happen for me because of these networks. And that's my dream, is to be in a type of community or be in the country.
Thanks, Laylee, is that right?
It's Leah, yeah.
Yes, I actually totally agree. I've been following autonomy on and off, and I do believe it is. I mean, I haven't been on one of these groups. This is the first one, And I do feel your program, Richard, is genuine and sincere. And I like what I hear so far.
Yeah, it is. It's very genuine and sincere, and it's run, Richard and his wife, it's a small family business, and, it's very sincere. And also, I work with Richard on the Pro Media, and one of the things that I really focus on is helping people develop their ideas, because that speaks to my background, working for public speakers like Mark Passio, Dr. Andrew Kaufman, Dr. Grayson Dart, and Richard Grove. And that's something that I have done professionally for the top level speakers in the world, is help them develop their ideas and turn them into viable products, that their audience will want to consume in a way that is, put out there practically. So that's one of my arts that I practice, and it's one of the things that I focus on when we teach people how to build mini courses. And
Well, and
yeah,
I was just going to interject and say, because my brain got going and I couldn't shut up. The reason that Leah is here, the reason we hired her as chief operating officer is because one of her bosses used to be our client, and we were in a meeting and they were planning a conference like 9 months ahead of time, which, is what you're supposed to do, but no one ever does that, right? So first off, I'm impressed that they're planning so far ahead. And then we're in a meeting and Leah can see the event in real time in the future. And she's walking through all the obstacles and all the things that like people usually don't see until they get to the wrong place that they rented and overpaid for. And now they've got union labor and all these other snags, right? And I remember thinking that meeting, and it was like an April meeting or something. I said, if she ever comes on the market, I want to hire her. And then like by December, she was a free agent. And then we started having negotiation talks, and then, we brought her on board. So she has a lot of talent and ability for these situations to help people take raw ideas, to structure them, to get the activities in place, and to have a product come out the other end that matches the idea from the design.
Thank you. And ironically, when I came to AUTONOMY, I had no ideas that my skills were valuable or marketable until I took the AUTONOMY course, and now I'm the director of AUTONOMY. So that's a journey.
I also wanted to say, Sue, I'm in Merida, Yucatan, so maybe we can meet up one day.
Where are you? You're in Merida?
Yes.
Is this, who's this? I can't quite see the.
That's Jerry.
Oh, Jerry. Oh, you're in Merida, not too far away. Oh, a few hours drive. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Love to meet.
And there's someone in Playa del Carmen as well, so maybe we can have a meetup.
Yeah, actually, Playa will be closer, but that would be great. I would really, really like that.
Thank you, Jerry. I did have a question. Hopefully, Kelly, you won't mind that I'm going to read that out. Okay. So Kelly said, do students have access to usage of Zoom via AUTONOMY, or do we need to get our own Zoom account to hold a meeting? Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, it will be like today. So all of our meetings, you get a Zoom link. So I do think that you need to have an account, but it doesn't have to be the paid. That's part's up to you. But as long as you have your account and you can log in, then you can attend all of the lectures and everything. And then within the community, there is where you heard us talk about the integration exercises, and there are links for what they call the dojo rooms through Jitsi, JITSI, and that's free. So you can just spin up a link and have a meeting with somebody if you want to use that in a one-on-one meeting. Does that answer your question? Okay, cool. Thanks, Kelly. And while we have just a minute, I do want to remind everyone that we do have the AMA happening on Sunday with Rich. So it gives you a chance to come on, ask more questions, interact with Rich, interact with some other, some other folks. And we would love for you to join, and that you're going to get an invitation by being here at this meeting. And I also want to encourage you to book your blueprint call, talk to Lisa about the the plans and options available. And I did want to let you know too, the AMA is not open to just the general public. It does have to be people that are like here at this event or who have done their blueprint call or that kind of thing. So just wanted to let everyone know. And then you are, like I said, you're going to get an invitation to that by being at this event. And does anybody else have any questions?
Maybe this is best held for the AMA, but this one's for Rich. What has been one of the biggest challenges that you've had throughout the creation of Autonomy, and how did you overcome it?
Negative self-talk, scarcity mindset, procrastination, imposter syndrome, overwhelm. What are the other things that I teach you guys about in the course? I went through all that stuff. That's how I know about it, right? Like you go through it on any given project. Learning curve, like you'll go through, like, so you start any new project with like the best intentions, and then you get involved with it, and it's kind of fun. And then it gets to the point where it's work. And then you get to the point where you forgot why you wanted to do this, or you didn't have a good reason in the first place, and you quit on yourself, right? So what I discovered was every project I've ever done kind of has the same process. I have a good idea, I start working on it, and then I get into it, and I'm like, why am I even doing this? Ultimate history lesson. This is never going to work out. Why am I editing Bill Binney for 6 months? This isn't going to work out. Well, when you get to the, like, when you learn that the only difference between quitting and being successful is like learning not to quit on yourself, right? So if you get to that point in the process where it's like, oh, I don't know why I'm doing this, I want to quit. And then I think, oh, right, this is the part where if I ignore that thought, I win. And I just keep going. Or some of the times I would teach myself to quit. Like, let's say I have some crazy IT problem and my computer's not working, it's super frustrating, I can't figure it out. I do one of two things. I go and just like try to solve it and get to the point where I forget like up from down. What was I trying to solve? What was the thing that was broken? Right. And then all of a sudden, like it's not broken anymore. Or sometimes I just turn it off. I walk away, I do something else. I don't think about the fact that it's not working. I turn it on and it just works. So I don't know, is there a connection between our mentality and the things that run quantum computer processors or whatever processors are in our computers? I don't know. I'm just saying, like, negative mindset, when you tell yourself this isn't working, your brain's going to give you this isn't working. And when you can give yourself you're like, this is going to work out and not quit on yourself, you can make it work out. And so whether you think you can or you think you can't, I believe you, and you're going to get those results, whatever you're thinking. So part of it is learning how to get out of our own way, get past the scarcity mentality, get past the stage fright, get past the imposter syndrome, get past the overwhelm, get past all these things that stop us. And then guess what? If I remove all the obstacles and I take away all the excuses, all I'm left with is success. And that's a lesson I've taught and retaught to myself many times, because, you know, sometimes you're coasting, you're grooving, you're cruising at flying altitude. And then, you know, Murphy's Law happens and you got to come back down and reassess. What's my reason for doing this? What's my cause for being here? Well, part of what I do is I bring excellence to anything I have to do. So if even if I'm doing something menial or mundane, I'm going to do it with excellence, which means I need to be focused and present in the moment. So a lot of what we teach in the first several weeks is just mindset management. And it's like when you get past that mindset management, that all these other things are allowed to unfold or blossom or flourish in our lives. And it's a function of learning how to show up for yourself and not quit. So the overarching teaching in autonomy is how to show up for yourself and not quit for 12 weeks. And if you do that during those 12 weeks, and you try just even 10% of like getting the content, right? You don't have to glean everything, but if you just glean 10%, you're going to grow so much in a way that you can't ungrow. Like when you outgrow a shoe, you can't get in that shoe anymore, right? It's not like your pants, you can outgrow pants and lose weight and get back into them. Like other like shoes, like once you outgrow shoes, that's it. same thing. Once we outgrow these scarcity mentality and these other ideas, it becomes hard to put them on anymore. If you learn that, stage fright, for instance, that can be like a, Lake Erie in front of you. It's 50 miles wide. You can't get across it. That's a big barrier. It's going to stop you. But if you grow and Lake Erie is now like a puddle that you can walk around, you can see it and you can choose to step in it if you want to, but you can also just walk around it and get to do the thing you need to do, right? Which ties back into like bravery and courage, which is a rare scarcity, unfortunately, in our society. How does it start? Does it start with not being scared? No, it has to do with seeing your fear and then doing the thing you need to do anyway. And we do that through education, because fear will put you in the spotlight. It'll blind you. It'll freeze you like a deer in the headlights. And when that happens, if you just say, if I just ask a question, I break this whole cycle and I'm out of it. Asking a question initiates learning. Learning emancipates you from fear. It replaces it with understanding, knowledge, experience, and wisdom. So really, fears are just pushing us toward education and learning, but they can be blockers until we learn how to learn our way around those things. Those are all things I had to do in order to, formulate this course. But the skills upon which I founded the course, I learned 30 years ago, and I paid $5,000 for them back in the mid 90s. So I offer this course without even inflation.
Thanks, Rich. I appreciate the vulnerability. It's nice to know you're still human and not an AI projection.
I'm more human than human. Wasn't that a song?
Yes, Rob Zombie.
I'm not a Zombie fan, but I do remember there was a song 20 years ago.
There was, yeah. I'm amazed that I knew it, to be honest. Okay, well, thank you all so much for coming to this Autonomy Quest. We really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, Kelly. I really appreciate it. And again, I want to let everyone know, book your blueprint call. I dropped the link. Also, please join us this Sunday for the AMA. We're going to really give Rich a really good workout. So it'll be fun to be there for that. I look forward to seeing you all there. Feel free to say hello anytime you see me, in the community. And yeah, I just want to thank you again. And I look forward to interacting with you all soon. Hopefully I'm going to be seeing you in class. All right. Thanks, everybody. Good night.